Some say that the AMH test is faulty. Is this an accurate assumption?
Not current generation, current AMH test. So there's been historically 3 different generations of AMH test. First generation AMH test was introduced in 2006. It was in use until 2010. Second generation AMH test was introduced in 2010 and was used until 2013. So the third generation AMH test, which is in use, has been in use since 2013. Anyone who had a test 2006 to 2010 using Gen 1 AMH test, or anyone who had AMH test after 2013 can rely on the test results. I will explain where this whole disbelief or concern about AMH test came from. So back in 2011, when I was doing research on AMH test, I accidentally discovered that test was faulty. So that's called AMH Gen 2 test. So then we did a series of experiments with our research group in Manchester in UK, and we proved to the manufacturer and to the world that actually Gen 2 test was faulty and it should not be used. And we campaigned for recall of that test because at the time there was only single AMH test, Gen 2, which was being used across the world. I was concerned, of course, so many thousands of women were using AMH tests, using faulty tests. That's why we campaigned and asked to recall, withdrawal of that test. And we proposed solution to fix that AMH Gen 2 test. So, and did a lot of research papers and did a lot of publications and went on newspapers to report and asked the recall of that test. Eventually, this test was recalled in 2013, and that Gen 2 test was fixed using the recommendation which we made, our research group made in from Manchester University. So, and they introduced our solution to fix that test, and the current test, Gen 3 test of AMH, is stable and reliable. Why? Because I know that we have done that research and we proposed that premixing method to fix, and that company which manufactures AMH introduced that test. Personally, I have zero interest on any AMH test. I don't have any connection to any fertility company or fertility test. So as a part of my research, I discovered accidentally Gen 2 test was faulty, and I led campaign to recall, and it was recalled in 2013. So all settled for me, and now current test is reliable. If you had a test from, let us say, 2014 onwards, you can rely on your AMH test. That's current generation.